Learn to create an action game in Unreal Engine 5 at unfgames.com. Hello y bienvenidos! In this video I will be talking about jumping mechanics. How do we create them and how do we implement them inside Unreal? You will be surprised how easy it is to create them because there is already functionality inside the character class that can help us a lot. So sit tight and join me in this video on how to create a double jump mechanic and make it feel more responsive by tweaking some values inside the character movement component. Let's start in this blank project by creating a character. So I will just create a new folder called mechanic double jump, and inside it I'll create a folder called player and create my character. Blueprint class character. I'll call it main character test. And this will be a test character just so I can break down the mechanic. I'm choosing to create a blueprint character because it already comes with a capsule for collision and a character movement. This character movement component is going to have a lot of values that will let me modify the behavior of our jump. So let's create a simple static mesh and let's just put cube, just so we know what we have. And I'm going to scale it a little bit. Going to press R for that. And now we have something better. Okay, so now let's use this character. This will be a very simple test. Usually I would create a game mode and put this character there, but this is just a simple test, so I'm just going to drag and drop it here. And I will search possess in the details panel. And auto possess player 0. That way, if I press play, I am now possessing that character. This means that I need to create a camera, and to hold that camera, I'm going to use a spring arm. Here's my spring arm by selecting the spring arm and then typing camera here. Now the camera is a child of this spring arm. It's parented, so that way whenever I move this spring arm, the camera is also moving with it. Just so my camera is not inside my character. If I press play, now I can see my character. I see it floating around, maybe it's not the best of ideas, so I'm going to press R again and make it a little bit bigger. And press W and put it towards the bottom. Now it should be much better. Okay, I can't do anything with this. I want to just create the jump. So I'm going to add an input for jump. Here I'm entering the project settings. If you don't have it open like me, you can go to the main level, edit, project settings, or also here in settings, project settings. Here I'm going to search for the input category, and in action mappings, this is it, I'm going to create a jump. I will call this test jump for now. So test jump. Later on we will just rename it to jump, but we're just testing stuff. And this action can be mapped to a key. In this case, I'm going to just click here and press spacebar. You can also search for a gamepad if you are using one. You can add a new mapping. Gamepad could be the face button down to jump. Okay, so now I have this event for an action that I want to do. So in this case, I'm going to hop back to my blueprint main character test, go to the event graph, right click to add a new node, and here I will search for the input that I just created, and it was called test jump. Here is the action event test jump. Going to click it, so every time I press spacebar, this will get executed, and when I release it, this part will get executed. Because I have chosen a character, you can see here the parent class of any blueprint. Because I have chosen a character as a parent, this comes with a character movement component, and also comes with a jump functionality. So if I hold here and press jump, there is already a function inside my character blueprint. So I'll press jump. With this, I can press play, and now if I press spacebar, my character jumps. So this is the first part of the double jump mechanic. The first thing we needed to understand is how are we jumping. Now, the second part has to do with the same properties that exist inside the character. I'm going to click here on class defaults, and the character already have two jump properties. One is jump max hold time, that we're going to talk about it in a little bit, and the other is jump max count. So here is the maximum times that I can jump. In this case, if I wanted a double jump, I'll just press 2, play, and now I have a double jump. If I needed a triple jump, then again, I can make it very easily. So how much are we jumping, and how does the gravity affects us? And I'm returning the value to 2 here. Those values that affect the overall functionality of our movement are inside the character movement component. Here we have the gravity scale. If you want to simulate that you are in the space, maybe you can tweak it down to 0.3. And now when you jump, you are jumping and falling very, very slowly. If you need more gravity, you may be feeling that your jump is too floaty. You can bump it up to 2 or maybe 3. Now, if you increase the gravity, it means that you also need to increase the force that we are using to jump. That first impulse, we can find it if we search for the category character movement jumping and falling. Jump C velocity, maybe, usually you can try values like, oh, let's just put 1000. Or you can multiply, so it's easier to understand what's happening. I will use twice or 3 times the value. Now let's try it. And maybe too much. So I'll use 2 times the value. I'll just multiply by 2. So you have a jump that goes faster to the ground thanks to the gravity that we have manipulated. Before we hop to a character that is already working and we do not need to set up our inputs, I also wanted to mention this other jump property, which is the jump max hold time. So you will see in some games, usually platformers, where you jump by just tapping the spacebar and you do a little jump. If you hold the spacebar, you can then jump even further. This let us control the character a lot better. And it's a common functionality that any platformer has, because the jumps are very important in those type of games. And having control over them is also very important. So how can we use it? If we just put jump max hold time, let's say 1 second, and we just play it, now I can hold my jump and I will jump farther. But if I just tap my jump, I'm still jumping the same amount. Why is this happening? Because we are not stopping the jump at any point. So in order to use this property properly, we need to here, whenever we release the jump button, to stop jumping. That's why the jump function and the stop jumping function exists. So let's press play. Now if I just tap, it will be a little jump, and if I just hold the jump, then I will have a longer jump. Now whenever you are messing around with this, with the max hold time, usually a good value is 0.3. No one wants to hold the spacebar that long. And you can first test it without the stop jumping to know exactly how much is the maximum amount of jump. Then you start tweaking the gravity and the jump C velocity. You can also tweak the deceleration, falling, air control, etc. But let's say that it was too much. I'll just put here 200. And it's a very small jump, so I'll just put 500. Should be good enough. Okay, that's a normal jump. If I want smaller jumps, now I can enable my stop jumping. And now I have small jumps if I just tap the spacebar, and longer jumps whenever I need them. Okay, so that is the basics of creating a double jump, or well, any type of jumping mechanic. To use them in an actual character, we can import here and add feature or content pack, and I will import my third person character. I will open the third person map, and I won't save this. Okay, so now that I imported my third person character, if I go to the project setting, you will see that a jump input has been added, and also some mappings for the movement, which are called axis mapping. If you do not know anything about inputs, well, if an action mapping is a concrete action like a jump, an axis mapping is usually used for any continuous action, like for example, moving forward. Also, this axis mapping will give me a value between -1 and 1. So if I'm moving my gamepad left thumbstick forward, I will get 1, and if I move it backward, I will get -1. But I can get values in between. If I'm moving the thumbstick a little bit forward, maybe it could be 0.2, 0.5, etc. In case of the keys, if you press S, it will be -1. If you press W, it will be 1. So let's open the character that comes with the third person template. Should be here, third person, blueprints, and third person character. You will see that this is how an input axis looks. Just has one pin, one execution pin, and a value of the axis. If nothing is being pressed here, the axis value will be 0. So you need to keep that in mind, and also keep in mind that this is always running. If I just put a print here, I will be getting that print every single time. So that is why I was telling you that is usually used for a continuous type of action like moving. And if I see my jumping, here is my normal input action that we already know, and is already set up with jump and stop jumping. So it's just a matter of going to the class defaults, searching here for the character, here, character, max hold time, let's put the same value, let's put a double jump, and it's just a matter of checking out the gravity scale and the jump C velocity. If I press play, I can move this character around. If I jump, I can jump like that. If it's a small jump, and if I hold my spacebar, I can get a higher jump. So it's very useful. If I just have, oh, I can't reach that, then I just need to hold my spacebar and that's done. So whenever you have jumps, let's say there is a jump here, and a small jump, and then a big jump, then you could just do a little jump here, and then a bigger jump that way. And you see, if you're trying it right now, it may be harder to control the character in the air. If you need more air control, then you're in luck, because the same character movement, which I wanted to reduce the jump by 500, has an air control. It says here 0 no control, 1 full control. So if this was in 1, then whenever I'm in the air, I can immediately turn and add movement to it. So it gives me a lot more control if that's what I'm looking for. Also, you will have a air control boost multiplier, so you can move faster in the air, and a threshold for the velocity that you can have. I believe if it's setting this to 0 will disable air control boosting. Yeah, that could be fine also, but let's just put this at 100, and let's say that we are testing it like that. That way we can try to give the players a way of not punishing them by jumping in a bad location. Like they can retract their action. A little thing that I wanted to add before ending the video is a way of communicating to the player that it has double jump. Right now, if I just double jump, maybe the interaction is not clear enough. So sometimes a little bit of visual effects can help with us. So first I need to know which visual effects I'm going to use. So I'm going to create a Niagara particle based on the templates that already exist. So here in my mechanic double jump folder, I'll just create a new folder called effects, and inside it I'll just create a Niagara system, new system from selected emitters, and I'm going to select that directional burst and click on the plus button. I'm just going to click finish, and I'm going to call it Niagara system double jump effects, and I'm going to leave it like that. Here in my blueprint third person character, we are no longer using this main character test. What I'm going to do is that whenever I jump, I will play that particle. So here it was system spawn system at location. Here I select the template of the one that I already created, and the location will be my player location. So here in the third person character, get actor location. Here we have it, and we can try it out. We can press play, and now if I jump, I will see the particle effects, and every time I jump is getting created. But I only want it for the jumps that happen in air, and I can know which jump I'm doing because if I just right click and type get jump, we have already variables that control the jumping mechanic. So current count pre-jump, max count. I want the current count. Because this is done by a programmer, the first jump starts at 0, and we can print the value so we know what's happening. So I jump 0, jump again in the air, 0, then 1, if I jump again 2, and I can have more jumps like that. It's stuck at 2, but I want it for this to only appear when it's more than 0. So I'll just create an if value, which is a branch. Let me move this to the side and get jump count. That I don't know why did I delete it. And if this is greater than 0, then I want to use this spawn system at location. Now for the first jump it doesn't do it, but for the second one it does do it. But if I keep mashing my spacebar, then it's still happening. So I need to know when this character can jump, and there is already a variable called get can jump. Oh, it's just can jump. Yeah, that's it. And I'm going to also connect it to this branch. So I want this value to be true. The jump current count must be greater than 0, and I want my value to jump. So I'll just type and an AND operator needs for both of these conditions to be true in order for the true value to get executed. Otherwise, if one of these is false, then it will run this part of the false value. Okay, so now if I press spacebar more than once, it only happens when I double jump. Now it's a lot more clearer, and it's super funny, but now it's clearer that I am double jumping, right? Okay, that's what I wanted to add. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope that you find this video interesting, and well, hope you learned something from it. Let me know if you want more mechanics dissected and easily implementable inside Unreal Engine. I'll see you next time.